When I ended 2017, it's almost hypocritical. It's called the Ascension. It's called, you know, something indicating that I want to rise and become something better, and that didn't happen that year, at least not in my opinion, because it's hypocritical of me to do this series and to be all so cool and so intense, and then at the end of it all, the big culmination is a physique which is 95% of what it was last year.
Stay true to the core of our endeavor. Victory forever. United under the Australian sun, we release the energy of death.
Okay, not bad. Broke under 200 pounds. Okay, morning.
To the core of our endeavor. Victory forever.
Alright guys, you know what time it is. Let's talk about the competition. By the way, if any of you are wondering where the hell are you, this, you know, Igor, number one, you look strangely tanned, and you're not in the same location. I'm actually in Aruba. Jordan, I, and some friends are pretty much right after the competition. We took off for a much needed vacation, especially because like the last 30 days of a competition prep, it's like your food is so low and your stress is so high that it's like getting fat in a warm place. It's like, yeah, you really, you know, it really helps bring those levels back to normal. But getting back on track to what you guys are here for, this competition, as I've alluded to a few times over the last few weeks, guys, this was unlike anything I have ever done. I mean, I have been competing since 2014. This was my 6th show. I've been doing this longer than I've been on YouTube, than you know, since you guys have known me, and even after all that experience, this was still definitely to a certain extent an unexpected show. But before we get into all that, there's a lot of analysis, a lot of things we're going to be talking about. I do want to let you guys know that I'm actually going to leave full timestamps for this entire video in the description box below, as well as on screen right now. So if there's certain things which interest you guys and you want to jump around, feel free to do so. My final weight for this competition, if you guys remember, back when I officially started my competition prep way back in like August, around there, I said that my goal for this prep this year, I really do want to hit that 170. Not just 175 or 174, I really want to get to 170 because I want to be the leanest that I have ever been. I haven't done that since pretty much like high school, and then one more time for my 2015 show. That's it. Even then it was like barely. Since then I have never been below that. In 2017 I pretty much competed around like 174-ish pounds, and yes! I fucking did it. It was like so close. I actually weighed in the morning of Friday, the day before my show. I even put it up on Instagram. I was 171.8 pounds. But as you guys saw in the last video where I kind of talked about all the different like sodium, water, carbs, all these different factors I do for my peak week, that combined with the fact that throughout Friday, for the most of, you know, pretty much earlier in the day, I ate very little, drank very little, did very little everything in general. So right before I actually started really seriously ramping up my carbohydrate intake and obviously increasing my body weight a little bit, I weighed in one more time. This is after my first coat of spray tan, so I look a little weird in this next clip you guys are about to see. I apologize. apologize for that. It's funny how bodybuilding is the one sport in the world where, you know, blackface is A-okay, apparently. 0.2 pounds is all I got, but fuck it, I will take it. I technically broke my goal. This is the leanest and the lightest I have been since 2015, and probably even more than that, because I assume that some lean body mass, some muscle mass has been gained since 2015 over the last 4 years. So it's pretty much like, hey, you're the same, if not more, lean body mass, but at the same weight, meaning that the only remaining variable is less body fat. Okay, so this is where things got kind of interesting, to put it in a positive spin. Pretty much you have like 1 or 2 hours between when you get there, between when you, and you know, you actually go on stage. And this is when you have like this interesting time to start looking around and trying to deduce who you're going to be up against. Like, people slowly start revealing their physiques. They take their sweaters off, they take their shirts off, they start carbing up, pumping up, and you slowly get to look around and see, you know, are you in bodybuilding? Are you in men's physique? Are you my height? Are you in my height category? You slowly start like putting together the you know, the lineup or the call outs in your mind. And okay guys, so interesting turn of events. We just found out that this show is like pretty much the biggest one in like number of athletes for natural shows in not just like Toronto or Ontario, but apparently like Canada. There are like 80 men's physique competitors, which is double the biggest show I've done up until now. And my class alone, my height category, not men's physique, but just the taller guys, 18 competitors. It's gonna be competitive, which I definitely learned, because guys, without beating around the bush anymore, because I've done plenty of that, I placed 10th place at this show. 10th. Yeah, what the fuck? And I know that a lot of you guys are probably thinking right off the bat, okay, Igor, what the hell happened? You know, what did you do? Were you not lean enough? Did you lose too much muscle, you know, while dieting down? Did you do something stupid to you? Did you carb up so much and just gain 10 pounds overnight? Like, what the fuck happened? How did you ruin your physique? The interesting thing is that I didn't. In fact, guys, you know, judging based on the footage that I showed, you know, the little awesome edit earlier in the video, that footage was taken 12 hours after my show. I honestly, in my very biased and subjective opinion, I think that that's the best that I have ever looked. At least tied, if not probably, I think 1 to 2%, you know, better. I honestly don't think that nothing went wrong. I looked good. I looked damn good for me, and I looked good enough with a physique on par or better than a physique which I used in the past to place 3rd, 2nd, and even one time placing 1st and actually winning my category. It's just that there's 2 things that happened. Number one, because of the number of competitors, some guys showed up who were just, I'm gonna outright say it, they were just fucking stacked. They were big, they were lean, they were both. Like, there's no way to beat around the bush. There were just some awesome competitors that came out, pure and simple, and a lot of these guys were straight up better than me. And although it kind of sucks to admit that, it's also not, I have no issue, I have no quarrel admitting that, because if you're good, then props to you. You fucking beat me fair and square. And the other thing is that there were a couple of guys who, like, I don't want to sound conceited, and I don't want to sound like I, you know, have an issue with the placing or anything, but I gotta be honest, when I look at this from a judging standpoint, I'm like, really? Like, I mean, I guess, I think one thing, which I'm gonna talk about in this video, is that I realized that I think that my own personal perception or my opinion of the physique that I want to aspire to be or to have might not be perfectly, or as much as I would like it to be, in line with that of judging, or at least in this specific show. But pretty much the way I want to go about, you know, my overall analysis to, you know, really get deep into the other competitors, into how I looked, all these things, is number one, we're gonna compare me versus the other athletes based on my personal opinion. Then we're gonna go me versus the athletes again based on what I perceive to be the judge's opinion, which obviously, again, I mentioned is not necessarily similar to mine. I'm gonna outline a few of the differences. And then finally, most importantly, is me versus me in previous years, which at the end of the day, let's be honest, that really is the most important comparison, but the other two are fun as well. Also guys, one more thing I do want to apologize in advance for. I don't have as much actual like on-stage footage this year as I would have liked. My organization introduced some like new, let's be honest, bullshit policy where pretty much nobody was actually allowed in the auditorium to film. Like pretty much anything bigger than a phone camera was not allowed. Like Jordan and I even talked to the official event organizer, but yeah, no such luck. But I think I got like a shit ton of photos, so I think we should be good. But guys, without further ado, let's get into the actual comparisons. Don't judge me, I'm on vacation. So the actual first call out was these guys I'm gonna throw up on screen right now. Now there's a combination, like a lot of these people, don't get me wrong, they looked fucking great. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, it's unfair, it's this and this. No, these guys beat me fair and square. A lot of them, especially when I was standing next to them, they may, in some cases, be even more impressive than they are in the photos. For example, from a size standpoint, especially number one, the guy who placed first place, and the guy who ended up placing fifth place, these guys, they were pretty damn big. Like when I stood next to them, I'm like, there's a considerable size difference. And at the same time, from a conditioning standpoint, in terms of like low body fat percentage, you know, guys, I think I looked pretty good. I looked pretty damn lean. I was definitely towards the leaner half of the competitors in my overall show, at least in my opinion. But there were some dudes at this show who were like, they were fucking shredded. There was this one guy, he actually placed number 2 overall in my category. When I was standing next to him, I'm like, I feel fat compared to you. And I'm pretty sure everybody else on this show, it's not just me, everybody felt fat there. Some guys, you know, there's only a few of them, but some guys came so conditioned. It was just like, it's impressive. Pure and simple. And also just from a general structure standpoint, that's usually like the third variable that I look at. So you got like, you know, size, muscle mass, how big you are, how lean you are, and then, okay, after those two things, what is your overall structure? We're talking a lot about your bone structure, like, you know, like your V taper, how wide your shoulders are, how small your waist is. In that sense, some guys were very impressive. For example, the guy who placed 6th in my category, like his V taper, it's almost as if his shoulders just naturally were like 1 inch wider than me and then 1 inch narrower than me in terms of the actual waist. Now that is kind of annoying because unlike the other two in terms of how lean and how big you can get, obviously there is to a certain extent some of a genetic component with those two things. But when it comes to your bone structure, it's like, it's all. Like, let's be honest, it's pretty much all. You can't file down your pelvis anymore, or you can't extend your clavicles to get a wider, you know, you can make yourself appear a little bit better with, you know, lateral deltoid development or dieting down for your waist. But besides that, you can't really just you can't change your bone structure. You get that when you're born, and that's it. That's what you got for life. And there were some guys with, you know, definitely very impressive, you know, V taper bone structures. Look, this show was fucking stacked, and I totally admit that. And I embrace that because I like the idea of that. So it almost feels good to find so many people who are just so fucking good. Just like, absolutely. It's kind of like Goku would talk about that in Dragon Ball Z. He'd always talk about how like,
you've always been like this, ever since the day I first met you. Always ready to meet the next challenge, even if it's bigger than you are. Yet you never fought to kill or for revenge. Only to test your limits and to push yourself beyond them, to become the strongest you could possibly be.
When he would find someone stronger than him, he'd almost get excited. You know, instead of getting like disappointed or down or angry, he'd get excited at the prospect of that because he's like, now I have a new, you know, I have like, it's not just hypothetical or visual of where I want to get to. It's like, no, I actually see someone who's faster, better, stronger than me. And now I can kind of like have a new goal to kind of like try to attain, you know, and get that and beat that guy. So in that sense, it's something that I am not, that doesn't make me sad, doesn't make me angry. It's like, some guys are good, and that's fucking awesome. One thing that I did notice is, for example, let's say like if you look at the guy, and I'm blurring all these faces out because, you know, I don't want to invade these people's privacy. Maybe they don't want to be talked about in my video. I'm not here to call anybody out or anything. It's just I'm trying to do like a independent kind of like physique analysis. It's kind of like, you know, the sportscasters do for like football or basketball or something. It's kind of like that for, you know, for the world of bodybuilding and men's physique. Like if you were to look at me versus the guy, for example, who placed 7th, I'm kind of thinking like, I feel like I had more size. I feel like I had more conditioning from a leanness standpoint, especially like in the midsection. But one thing which I did not have compared to that guy, and I fully admit it, is kind of the overall, again, bone structure and overall like that men's physique style structure. I don't have like the widest shoulder. I don't have like the best V taper. I've talked about that before. I did a whole genetic series about that. I don't think my genetics are bad or anything, but they're definitely not up to par with some of the, you know, the guys you see on like the higher levels of like competition or even on social media. So that's always been kind of a pain in the ass for me. It seems like they really valued that, or they kind of placed a bit more emphasis on that than judges I've had in previous competitions, or definitely in my personal opinion. I never really like prioritize it as much as the stuff that you can control. But this time around, I think the judges, they kind of like that. It seems like they were really looking for just wide dudes. Like how much muscle mass you have and how lean you are, that's important too, but we want wide dudes. And that's something that I just naturally have never been. And I try to make up for that by getting leaner or maybe getting a little bit bigger, but I can't file down 2 inches off my waist, no matter how much I try. And again, maybe it's just I'm wrong. I'm not a professional like CPA, NPC, IFBB pro judge or anything, but in terms of what I look for in a physique, like, yeah, you want to be wide and shit, but also like you gotta be big and you gotta be lean, right? At least in my personal opinion. It's like all these factors combined, not just like structure, and then yeah, have some muscle and you know, kind of get lean. Or to be honest, there were times when I thought I should have placed lower. Last competition in 2017, there was a guy who placed below me and I thought, no, he should have placed higher. I fully admit that. You know, I placed like 3rd, I think he was 5th. We should have switched places. Hell, he should have been even higher, like as high as 2nd or 1st, I would even say. But guys, at the end of the day, fuck it. It doesn't really matter that much, does it? Because even if the judges did hypothetically, in a perfect world, decide to side with me and go with my personal appreciation of what like a good physique is or isn't, okay, who cares? It would boost me up like what, above 2 or 3 guys? I go from 10th to what, 7th? It's not like it's gonna propel me into top 3 or 1st place or anything. So in that case, it doesn't really matter because again, at the end of the day, no matter how much I, sit here and bitch and whine, let's be honest, there were some guys that were just really, really damn good. And there's nothing I can change about that besides just sit here and applaud them. They were leaner, they were bigger, and I gotta catch up to them. Guys, don't worry, it's okay. Beer comes from barley. Barley is a... Beer comes from barley. Barley is a vegetable, therefore this is a vegetable shake or a salad, perhaps. Either way, guys, moving on. The last thing that I want to talk about in terms of the comparisons, at the end of the day, really all that matters is you versus yourself. Are you better than where you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 5, 10, I don't care how long ago? Are you improving little by little over yourself in the past? Because at the end of the day, the only person with the exact same overall genetic blueprint as you is you. And that's, to be honest, that's the whole point of my ascension. It's not to ascend and, succeed over other people. It's to ascend over an older version of yourself, ideally. And that's pretty much the goal. Did I do that? And yeah, I think so. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, just from a numerical standpoint, in terms of things like body fat percentage according to my scale, which I know is pretty consistent because I've been using the exact same scale for the last like 2 or 3 years. Literally, I used it during my last competition, the competition before that. I've used it for a long time. All that matters is that it is lower and the weight was lower. And from a physique standpoint, yeah, I think it was better. I mean, you can see it in the footage right now. And obviously, like, guys, I admit, there are guys who blow me out of the fucking water. There are guys who are bigger. There are guys who are leaner. Natural guys, right? I'm not sitting here like saying butthurt, like no one's bigger than, if you're bigger than me, you're on steroids. No. But for my personal physique, I think this is at least on par with the best I've ever looked. If not, just a few percent higher. That's theoretically all that should truly matter. That's what the name of the game is for me. That's why I call this the Ascension, not to go and beat other random strangers for the respect points of other strangers, judges that you've never known and, to be honest, don't really give a shit about. And guys, the last thing I do want to mention, which is just, again, as usual, the little, is it gripes? Is that what it's called? When you have when you're pissed off about something? I'm looking at my girlfriend now to compare. Holy shit, I actually got that right. Another natural bodybuilding or natural men's physique show where I personally, nobody came up to me after the competition and asked to test. Nobody asked me for my piss. And I didn't see anybody else doing that either. Like in the Olympics, you'd think that like the second they come off the the second they come off the track or the lifting platform, whatever, there's supposed to be some guy in a white coat and tie who comes to you and be like, hello, sir, you have been randomly selected for a drug test. I didn't see anybody doing. Why the fuck would you even call it a natural show if like you're not doing anything. Now, at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily matter because I don't think that any of those competitors were on anything. I mean, could they theoretically be? Of course. There's people who look worse than me who are taking stuff and I'm not, and that's, I mean, yeah, they're, you know, people vary. But at the end of the day, for a local, you know, local, regional, Toronto-based show, we're not like nationals or something. We're not in the pros. At my level, you don't have to take anything. And even if they were, it's like what, 1 out of 18 guys. Who really gives a shit? But that being said, it does kind of annoy me how once again it's a natural show, and I don't see anything that actually differentiates it from, you know, a not natural open show. Besides the $25 drug testing fee I had to pay, which went nowhere. But either way, guys, that's it. That, you can say, you know, is the metaphorical sunset on the Ascension Season 3 2019. Pretty much the way that I think of it is, it's kind of like a bittersweet ending. Because did I get the placing that I wanted? No, not really. But did I, pretty much the whole point of why I call this series, you know, the Ascension, did I ascend, keyword, to something which is, and let's be honest, when it comes to natural bodybuilding, it's not gonna be just like boom, boom, boom. You know, I just smashed my physique from last year. No, we're talking like 1, 2, maybe even 3. Even then it's like, whoa, holy crap, hold your horses. We're talking individual % difference in terms of surpassing your physique from the year before. A little bit bigger, a little bit leaner, a little bit stronger, 10, 15, 20 pounds on a PR, all those things. But the thing is, when you do it year after year, it adds up. And at the end of the day, I don't want to be like one of those guys who says like, well, you know, it doesn't matter. You know, you got to try hard and be your best, and, you know, placing or winning, that shit doesn't matter. No, it fucking does matter, right? In the real world, that shit matters. So does it suck? Yeah, it does. But at the same time, to be perfectly honest, there are only 3 people whose opinion, when it comes to my physique, I truly care about. Number 1 is you guys, my audience, the guys who have been with me for, you know, months, years, for a long time. We're still watching this video like 25 minutes into God knows how long this is going to be. Number 2 is my lovely girlfriend.
Hi.
And number 3, most importantly, to be honest, is myself. I know what I want to look like, and I know that this year, I came pretty damn close to that. Not fully there, considering I'm not just like, that's it, bodybuilding's done, I'm gonna go take up knitting or something. But to be honest, you know, I think I came a little bit closer. And that's it, guys. Those 3 very special groups of people, I do care about their opinion, and beyond that, I don't give a fuck. Alright guys, I guess that brings Ascension Season 3 to an exciting conclusion. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you in that next video. There's a lot of rocks. Fuck it, I'm done.